The tragic tale of General Grievous. In the vast expanse of the galaxy where countless stories of heroism and villainy unfold, few are as tragic and compelling as the tale of General Grievous. To understand the man, or rather the creature behind the mask, we must journey back to a time before the Clone Wars, to the distant and war-torn planet of Kaylee. Chapter 1. The Warrior of Kaylee. Long before he became the dreaded General Grievous, he was known as Kaimayen Jai Shilal, a fierce warrior of the Kaleesh people. Born into a world ravaged by conflict, Kaimayen grew up amidst the brutal wars that plagued his home. Kaylee was a harsh planet where survival was a daily struggle, and the Kaleesh were a proud and resilient people, revered for their combat prowess. Kaimayen's early life was marked by the horrors of war. The Hook, a technologically advanced insectoid species, invaded Kaylee, seeking to enslave its people and exploit its resources. The Kaleesh, though brave, were no match for the superior technology of the Hook. But Kaimayen, with his sharp mind and unparalleled skill in battle, quickly rose through the ranks of the Kaleesh warriors. He became a symbol of hope for his people, leading them in countless battles against the Hook invaders. His tactical genius and ruthless efficiency on the battlefield earned him the nickname Grievous, a title that would later become infamous across the galaxy. But despite his victories, the war took a heavy toll on him. He lost many friends and family members, including his beloved mate, Rondaru Lij Kumar, whose death would haunt him for the rest of his life. Chapter 2. The Betrayal. As the war raged on, the Hook sought the aid of the Galactic Republic, who in turn sent the Jedi to intervene. The Jedi, misled by the Hook's lies, saw the Kaleesh as the aggressors and forced them into a humiliating defeat. Stripped of their resources and left to starve, the Kaleesh were plunged into poverty and despair. Kaimayen was left with nothing but his hatred for the Hook, for the Republic, and for the Jedi who had wronged his people. It was this hatred that made him vulnerable to manipulation by the Sith. Count Dooku, the charismatic leader of the Separatists, saw potential in the broken warrior. He offered Kaimayen a chance for revenge, a chance to become something more than just a man, a chance to become a weapon of terror. Dooku orchestrated a plot to sabotage Kaimayen's ship, leaving him gravely injured and at the brink of death. The Sith Lord then had Kaimayen's body rebuilt, not as a man but as a cyborg, a monstrous fusion of flesh and machine. The transformation was excruciating, both physically and mentally. Kaimayen Jai Shilal was no more. In his place stood General Grievous, a living weapon driven by hatred and vengeance. Chapter 3. The Rise of General Grievous. As General Grievous, he became the supreme commander of the Separatist droid army, a role in which he thrived. His new body, enhanced with advanced cybernetics, made him a formidable opponent on the battlefield. Grievous could wield multiple lightsabers with deadly precision, a skill that struck fear into the hearts of even the most seasoned Jedi. But Grievous was more than just a warrior. He was a tactician, a leader who commanded respect through fear. He masterminded some of the most devastating campaigns of the Clone Wars, leaving a trail of destruction in his wake. To his enemies, he was a monster, a remorseless killer who took pleasure in slaughtering Jedi and collecting their lightsabers as trophies. However, beneath the mechanical exterior and the ruthless demeanor, there remained a flicker of the man he once was. Grievous was haunted by his past, by the memories of his lost home and his loved ones. He sought not only to destroy the Jedi, but also to prove his own worth, to validate the sacrifices he had made and the pain he had endured. Chapter 4. The unrelenting pursuit. Throughout the Clone Wars, General Grievous became a symbol of terror for the Republic. His attacks were swift, merciless, and unpredictable. He would strike at key Republic outposts, decimating their forces before vanishing into the shadows. The Jedi who once underestimated him now saw him as a formidable adversary. Grievous took great pleasure in hunting Jedi, using his superior strength and agility to overwhelm them. His combat style was unlike anything the Jedi had encountered before, brutal, relentless, and devoid of honor. To Grievous, the Jedi were nothing more than prey, and he was the predator. His collection of lightsabers grew with each victory, a grim testament to his prowess. Despite his successes, Grievous was not without his flaws. His overconfidence and disdain for his opponents often led him to make reckless decisions. While he was a brilliant strategist, his obsession with defeating the Jedi clouded his judgment at times. He sought to prove himself, not only to his enemies, but also to himself, to the man he once was. Chapter 5. The Fall. As the Clone Wars drew to a close, Grievous found himself increasingly isolated. The Separatist leaders, including his master, Count Dooku, were becoming more secretive, and the Sith's true plans remained hidden from him. Grievous was a pawn in a much larger game, one that he could never fully understand. His final stand came on the planet Utapau, where he faced Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. The battle was fierce, with Grievous using every weapon at his disposal to defeat the Jedi. But Kenobi was no ordinary opponent. He was a skilled and determined warrior, driven by the need to end the war. In the end, it was not Grievous's lightsabers or his combat skills that failed him, but his very nature. The cyborg body that had given him such power also made him vulnerable. Kenobi, in a moment of desperation, aimed his blaster at Grievous's exposed organ sac, firing a deadly shot that ignited the flesh beneath the metal. Grievous's death was as violent as his life had been, a final, fiery end to a once proud warrior. Chapter 6. The Legacy of Grievous. With General Grievous's death, the Separatists were left leaderless, and the war soon came to an end. But Grievous's legacy lived on, not only in the destruction he had wrought, but also in the cautionary tale he became. His life was a tragic example of how hatred and vengeance can consume and destroy, turning a once great warrior into a tool of darkness. In the annals of galactic history, Grievous is remembered not as a hero or a martyr, but as a monster. Yet beneath that monstrous exterior was a being who had once loved, who had once fought for his people, and who had once believed in a cause greater than himself. General Grievous's story is a reminder that even the most fearsome villains have a past, and that past is often fraught with pain, loss, and tragedy. In the end, Grievous was not just a machine or a monster. He was a victim of the very forces he sought to control. As the galaxy moved on, his name became a symbol of fear, a whisper in the dark, a warning of what happens when a warrior loses his way. The man who was Kimayan Jai Shilal may be gone, but the tale of General Grievous will echo through the stars for generations to come.